continuing our discussion on solving systems of equations by graphing. This time we will be looking at different ways on how those lines, the linear equations or the linear graphs would behave when you graph them. Okay, so we have what we call as the independent systems of equation. This is a consistent system and there is only one solution. So you can expect that if you graph the two lines, they will meet at exactly one point. Now we also have what we call as dependent systems. So here it is a system wherein there are infinitely many solutions. So how will that look like? That is when your lines, when you graph them, overlap each other, which means there are so many points that are common to those there are so many points of intersection. That is why this is when you will have infinitely many solutions. And then also we have what we call as a inconsistent, I should say, system of equation. So this is when there are no solutions. So how can it be possible for you not to have any solutions? That is if your lines never intersect, which means they are parallel. Okay, so these are the three possible answers that you can have whenever you have a system of equation. They will intersect at one point, they will overlap, the two lines will overlap each other, or they will never meet at all because they are parallel lines. Okay, so let's have some examples here. So what is the solution of each system? So just like what we are doing, we have two different equations here and I have them color coded. Again, it's a lot easier to to graph your lines if they are in the slope intercept form. Now if you're going to take a look, this equation here is not in slope intercept form. So let me just move it up here. So 2y minus x is equal to 2. We need y to be by itself. So the first thing that we need to do is transfer the x to the other side. So we will have a plus x plus x. So now this will be a 2y is equal to x plus 2, correct? And we only need y to be by itself. So we divide by 2, divide everything by 2. And so this can now be written as y is equal to x over 2 or 1 over 2x, and then plus 2 over 2 is just 1. Now as you can see, I think this is pretty obvious here that you have exactly the same line, all right? And so you can expect that this is the graph of the blue equation and it's also the same line for our red equation. And so for this first example, you have infinitely many solutions. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the second example. You have y is equal to 2x plus 2, and then the other one is y is equal to 2x minus 1. If you graph the first equation, this is how it would look like. You have a y-intercept at positive 2, and your slope is 2 over, so it's 2x, so that's 2 over 1. So you go up by 2, 1 to the right. The other equation, our red equation, has a y-intercept at negative 1, and again, the slope is 2 over 1. And so this is how it would look like. Do we see any intersection between these two lines? Nope. Okay, so here we do not have a solution at all. Okay, so what you will notice, and here's a technique, okay, just a tip, you will see that their slopes are the same. Okay, if your slopes are the same but they have different y-intercepts, that's when they are parallel. Okay, no solution. Here you have the same slope, you have the exact same y-intercept, that's infinitely many solutions. The moment that you have different slopes, they will definitely meet somewhere. Okay, so that's a clue or a tip that I can give you. So here's a concept summary of solving systems of equation by graphing. Okay, so again, we only have one solution if they intersect. This is what we call as the independent. All right, and as you can see here, just like what I mentioned a few minutes ago, different slopes. Take note of that. Okay, We also have infinitely many solutions. They are exactly the same line. They have the same slope and the same y-intercept. And this is when we have what we call as dependent system. Last but not the least, no solution. You can see that the lines are parallel to each other. They have the same slope but different y-intercepts. Remember that. So this is when we have our inconsistent system. All right? So, to summarize today's lesson, systems of equations can be solved in more than one way. One of those methods is simply graphing each equation, and all we need to do is find the intersection point of the two lines if it exists. All right?